Greetings again, everybody. Welcome back to Dark Souls 2. We're going to go through a place with lots of dragons. It's fairly short. And the dragons are mostly just background objects. Another thing we will have to contend with are those guys up ahead. That should have hit him in my opinion, but anyway. The S-Talk appears to be a rather bad weapon for hitting those guys. They don't do any damage to us. What they do instead is they decrease the durability of our gear. And I'm pretty sure one of my rings, or maybe even two, are gonna break over the course of this video. No, those are some eggs. Destroying them does something. We're gonna learn later. We don't need to destroy all of them, but it's probably for the best if you want to trigger what I'm about to trigger, which is not something that you should be doing, frankly. But yeah, we just found a crystal lizard here, and this place is actually full of crystal lizards. We can even hear them right now. There's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 up here, and hey, also that boss we fought last time. Yeah, this was a quick demotion. I joked about it last time. From boss to background objects in just a few minutes, and now he's actually a minor enemy. I say minor here. He's actually still mini-boss level, but he's fairly easy. He can't do his flying attacks anymore or his wall grabbing attacks, which means you can just stay around his feet and, well, do your business there. They won't respawn after you killed them once, and they do have a chance to drop petrified dragon bones, among some other things, of course. This area is really good for Titanite farming, because there's tons of crystal lizards and also quite a few upgrade materials that can just be picked up off of corpses. We're gonna find all that, of course. You can just grab everything, then use a bonfire ascetic. This will respawn the enemies, all the crystal lizards, and also all the items that are just lying around. And this is actually how I farmed for upgrade materials on my New Game Plus Plus character before I started this LP, because, you know, I had to upgrade some shit. And I still didn't have enough materials in the end, but whatever. We did pick up a dragon tooth just a few moments ago. That dragon tooth is a returning weapon from the first game. In the first game it was an actual dragon tooth. It was, well, the weapon Havel used. It had basically infinite durability. In this game it doesn't have infinite durability, and I believe that to be somewhat significant. You might remember that Aldia is kind of a dude who likes to experiment on things. So those dragons we see here, they are actually products of Aldia, most likely. And so they are probably a little bit imperfect. So the lower durability, or rather the lack of infinite durability of the dragon tooth, might be a result of that. Either that, of course, or I'm just overthinking things again, but, well, who cares anyway. So yeah. I'm glad I have a little bit of repair powder with me, so I can just make sure that not all of my shit breaks. It's not something I usually expect doing, because those guys, they pretty much always die in one hit. Just the S-Talk, or maybe it's my timing that's off, but it's really hard to hit those guys right now. But anyway, yeah, we can now also link those mummified guys to Aldia. So far we've seen plenty of the enemies that we have also seen in Aldia's Keep, in cages or hidden behind doors, whatever. We've seen it already. We've seen them basically in the world everywhere. The first thing we saw was that ogre. In Things Betwixt there were 3, and later in Shrine of Amana there were also 2. But I only showed 1, because, yeah, I forgot the other one, but it doesn't really matter now. Those petrified dragon bones here, I say those, but that's actually just 1. Anuvian Plus and above, it's actually 3 that you can pick up here. Anyway, back to Aldia and his products. So those mummified guys, we saw those down in Sinus Rise, and in general, of course, in the Lost Bastille. But it's kind of significant that they're down in Sinus Rise together with those hulking scorpion dudes, which we also saw in Aldia's Keep. If there is an analog in the first game story to Aldia, it would be Seath, as opposed to Vendrick being an analog to Gwyn. It might even be possible that Aldia is actually Seath in a way, or rather that he was influenced by Seath's soul, because, well, we're gonna learn a little bit later that makes it pretty likely that he was actually kind of, sort of, down there. More specifically, he was down at that dragon's corpse in Brightstone Cove, Seldora, and did something with it. I mean, hell, if he created dragons, and so many that you can see here, he probably needed 1 sampler, right? At least 1. Seeing as dragons are actually extinct, if you go by the first game's lore, and the first game actually had this kind of bullshitty excuse to still include flying lizards that breathe fire by just calling them drakes. Drakes were just considered lesser dragons basically, but they were still dragons, while actual dragons were more considered ancient beasts that were also immortal, but we killed them. I mean, that dragons being extinct bit was a pretty big deal in Dark Souls. After all, the intro cinematic was basically just dedicated to telling us how that happened. And then we did actually find a dragon way later in the game in Ash Lake. Supposedly the last one. And in the DLC we also fought Calamite, another dragon, which was probably also the last one. But time travel was involved in that one anyway, so let's not worry too much about that. But the point remains that the dragon was alive way after they went extinct. It's just that there were very, very few of them left. But yeah, for now we have killed all 3 of the dragons in this area. So should we go through it again now, the only enemies we would face were those mummified guys. And normally I would just run through here and not bother with this area at all. I basically only kill the dragons whenever I do it for the Titanite, and oh well, look at that. Navlan will invade us in several spots now that we've opened his prison. Those aren't necessarily areas we haven't seen yet. We will have to go back to some areas we've already visited if we want to encounter every single one of his invasions. And it's not like we get a reward for doing that. But, you know, it's a thing that's there and we can do it, so let's do it. Alright, so now we are actually through the area already. Let's, up ahead is the Dragon Shrine, across that bridge, which we will cross momentarily. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Okay, well, you know, something was supposed to happen here, but it didn't. If you destroy enough dragon eggs, eventually the dragon is supposed to just come here and do that, yeah. It's an instant death, of course. But it very rarely happens. It's something that only happens if you destroy a lot of the dragon eggs, and I didn't destroy enough, even though I destroyed some completely on purpose instead of, you know, by accident. The more you destroy, the more quickly that dragon will appear. And that item we saw down there, that's Twinkling Titanite. I'm not gonna go down there for the sake of pacing, but if you want some Twinkling Titanite, go down there, you'll get it. Meanwhile, this ladder here is actually a shortcut right back to the first bonfire. And conveniently enough, if we climb back up, there will be another zip line that will bring us back to the end of the area. But we're not going to go to the end of the area right away, because you might have already spotted it, but there's a little bit of a platform we can drop down on, and we shall do that. You have to actually press the sprint button to fall down, and you need to do that at a time while you're still above the bridge. Otherwise, you'll most likely fall to your death. But yeah, we're now basically done with this area, and we're gonna leave it in just a second as soon as we cross that bridge without incident. I normally just run through this area. It takes about 2 minutes to speed through it. And if you know where to go, you can also go through the next area pretty quickly. 3 minutes or so, which means that you can go through both areas in about 5 minutes. But we're gonna check out the Dragon Shrine next time. So see you again whenever that happens.